Get strong.
Welcome back to my channel, Holistic Beauty RN. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're an OG, oldie but a goodie, welcome back. So if you can't already tell, I am driving at the present moment, actually on my way to work. So I know I've been MIA for quite some time, and I do apologize for that, but life happens. When you're working 2 jobs, now 3, that's another story. That's another I'll do another video at some point in time about my 3rd job, which I don't want to speak too much on at this point. Yeah, when you're working 3 jobs and have a family and 2 dogs to take care of, one of them having a chronic illness which requires a lot of management, YouTube is not the priority. Checking me out, welcome. A little bit about me: I am a family nurse practitioner. I work in an urgent care setting, which is where I'm on my way to right now. So we see patients for a variety of reasons. Kind of think of it as a controlled ER in a sense, because you can kind of control what you see. If the person is obviously too severe in a sense where you can't safely manage them, then you can refer them out, which I've done many times before, refer them to the ER. So we see patients like that. Also, it's a primary care, so people or patients can establish practice with me and come back and see me, especially if they have chronic ailments that require more frequent visits. So a question I get asked a lot, which is what this video is going to touch on, is how to find a job as a new grad nurse practitioner. Not just finding a nurse practitioner job, but also a registered nurse job, if that is what you're into, that's what you just finished. Congratulations, first and foremost, on my new graduate. So yeah, the first thing is, and this one is kind of the most obvious one, because for any job you're doing, whether it be nursing or whatever, this kind of just applies to any and every profession that you are in. But of course, for the sake of this channel, we're talking about landing a job for nursing. So number 1, updating your resume. I cannot stress that enough. And when I say update your resume, I mean, obviously, putting you're updating your graduation now that you've graduated, so put that you have graduated, updating, your other job if you may have quit one because you're on the hunt for a new job or whatever the case may be, updating, your work history. And work history also pertains to clinical history, people. What you did in clinicals is very pertinent to the job, to your skills, and therefore will help make you marketable when you're finding a job. So for me, for instance, I did my last clinical rotation, so we were able to do a specialty in addition to our family practice residency. We could do 90 hours in a specialty, which I chose to do in a cardiac specialty, in a outpatient cardiac clinic. So I had 90 hours of that, where I had all these different skills, as far as assessing cardiac patients, some of the things that we did as far as in our assessment, from our head to toe assessment. They're asking questions about their salt intake. How much salt do they eat? What is a typical 24-hour diet for them? So things like that, which are, pertinent to a cardiac patient. So I included all of that in my resume because clinical hours, and I put the type of clinical that I did. So in this instance, a cardiac outpatient clinic, I put the amount of patients we were seeing in a day, how many hours I completed. I devoted 1 page of my resume to my clinical experience. In the case of a registered nurse, your RN clinical rotations is very essential to put down what you've done so that employers, future employers, prospective employers can see what you've gotten your hands into, what you've done, to see how well-rounded you engines, different job website postings, job websites like Indeed.com. That was my go-to. The 2 nurse practitioner jobs that I have now, both of those jobs I've learned from and applied through Indeed. So for those of you who have heard of Indeed, great, all power to you. Please continue to apply through it, especially if you've already started applying through it. And for those of you who are kind of like skeptical about it, because I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning I kind of was like, I don't know about this. I'd rather just kind of go to the company websites, which is a good thing too. Like if you're applying for like certain hospital jobs, you know, the only way you really can apply through those jobs is through the main company website under the career section, where they'll more than likely have you create a resume or create a profile with your username and password, and then you'll be able to upload your resume and other pertinent documents, like your licenses and all of that, and actually fill out the application. So that's fine too. But a lot of times you may first hear of these jobs through these job search engines like Indeed, because they'll pull that information even from the main hospital jobs and tie it in, and you know, it'll be in their search engine. So when you're looking or searching for that job, it'll come up. But a lot of times I didn't know of jobs that were hiring unless I looked on these sites like Indeed. So it was very helpful in that sense. And like I said, I was able to land 2 of my nurse practitioner jobs from Indeed. So it is very legitimate. But what I did, and you know, everyone is different, you know, you can do it how you prefer, but this was just what I did, and what I found to be successful for me was when I found the job through Indeed, of course, it really all depends. Sometimes they'll give you the full company information, like as far as the name of the place, the address, the phone number, or sometimes you'll have to Google all that yourself. But at least they'll give you enough where you can find the information, like they'll give you the company name and all that. So then you just Google it based on the name of the company, the location, and so obviously you'll find the right one. But sometimes, like I said, they'll already have that information in there for you. And if they do, then you can go. What I did was I got that information and then I went to the company directly, and then I'll look and see if they had like a career section where I could just apply online specifically through that company's website. Or if they didn't, then you know, I'll get the number, I'll call, ask for HR, which I've done this, and say, hey, you know, I seen the listing on Indeed, I see that you're looking for you know, a nurse practitioner. I'm interested in applying. How can I go about doing that? Can I submit my resume to an email that you guys prefer? I would love to apply. I'm very much so interested in working for your company, and I feel like I would be a great asset. I have a lot of great skills, and you know, I would love to share that with you by sending a copy of my cover letter and resume to the email provided. And they were like super eager to give me their email, like, oh yeah, just send it here and put it in attention to da 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 da, and you can even feel free to call us back at this number to see if we got it, and we'll let you know. And I was like, great. And that is what I did. And the follow-up is also essentially as important. Like if I wanted to call and follow to make sure they got my resume right away, like, you know, then I'll do that then. But then afterwards, if I didn't hear, which the first job, they were good with like contacting me right away, so I really didn't have to do that as much. But the other one, I did. So I would just, you know, follow up through the email communication or by calling them, and I was able to kind of, you know, obviously show them that I was still interested, very much so, which I was, and to show them, you know, so that they can, you know, maybe if they might have forgotten or they had so many other applications, now they can kind of, it redirects them back to my application to furthermore get whatever information that they need so that they can continue through the process. So that was number 2. Number 3 is open-mindedness, right? So let me tell you what I mean by that. A lot of times people feel like, oh, they come out of nursing school or nurse practitioners go, oh, I want to work for this. This is what I want to do, which I was one of those people. I was like, oh, after I did my cardiac specialty, I was like, oh yeah, I want to do cardiac. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. Yeah, I think I found my niche. This is what it is. And I would just only look for and try to apply for jobs that were cardiac specialty. I'm going to tell you guys now, the jobs that I work now as a nurse practitioner are not cardiac specialty. And if I continued having that mindset of just keep only applying for cardiac jobs in that specialty that I thought that I really wanted to work in, probably would have still been searching, because for one, there wasn't that many jobs, and if they were, they wanted a certain level of experience or amount of years of experience, which is understandable, you know. A lot of the times I don't think I've ever seen any of them wanting new grads, honestly. So it obviously made it a little harder for my chances of getting that job. And I've applied to a few of them and I never got the job. So basically I say that to say this. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay? I get it. You have that passion, you done the clinical rotation, you just fell in love with the specialty that you did and you figured that was what you wanted to do. But sometimes you have to remain open-minded and be willing to take something that's not that specialty to just get your foot in the door, because maybe sometimes that's what it takes. You have to take what you can get, which may not be what you wanted, but at least it gives you that foot in the door. It gets you the foot in the door. It gives you that experience that you need, so that then maybe a year later you can come back and say, hey, I have a year worth of experience. And then when you start applying, you're more marketable because you have a year's worth of experience, and now your chances of getting into that specialty that you wanted are a lot easier than as a new grad. So it doesn't mean that the door is permanently closed. It just might mean for the time being it's temporarily closed. So just be open-minded to something that may not be exactly what you wanted. Be open-minded, right? That's number 3. Number 4 is keep all your documents handy, right? And by documents, I mean your licenses. Because think about it, when you're applying for these jobs, they're going to ask you for all of that, right? So you don't want to be tied up or holding yourself down or up, or them, prolonging the process because you don't have all your stuff in order. Like, make sure you have your DEA license, which actually then you'll need a collaborating physician, so you may not be able to get that until you get the job, so never mind. But just make sure you have everything else in order, your license, your MPI number, have all of that neatly organized, your CPR certification, ACLS, your RN license, have everything together and aligned and appropriately filed, so that when you need it, which you will, everything is right at your fingertips and there is nothing slowing down the process any further, and you'll always have it for when you need it. Last step, my last word of advice to something that I would suggest all new grads do, whether you're a registered nurse new grad, LPN new grad, nurse practitioner new grad, follow these simple steps to help you find a job. And number 5, the last thing on the list would be follow these simple steps to help you find a job. And number 5, the last thing on the list would be get certifications, right? The more certified you are, the more skills and trainings that you have under your belt, the more marketable you're going to be. So like, for instance, things that are going to be normally required to be a nurse anyway, no matter what type of nurse you are, things like CPR, BLS, but a lot of times ACLS, which is your advanced cardiac life support, is not really required unless you're like working in a telemetry or urgent care unit, or like a intensive care or emergency department unit type of thing. And then it would be required. But lo and behold, you'd be surprised at how many jobs actually look at that as a great thing to have added under your belt, even though it's not always necessary. So getting that ACLS certification, attending different training classes. So for my urgent care job, I did a hands-on training course. So it was a 2-day training course, all day, so like 8 hours, and included the meals and everything. But it included hands-on things like suturing, toenail removal, topical anesthetic application, as well as subcutaneous administration of anesthetics such as lidocaine. It included how to do cryotherapy, wart removal. I did mention the suturing aspect of it already. How to do injections such as trigger point injection, joint injections such as the knees, shoulders. So that was a training course that I did, and for my second nurse practitioner job, which I will talk about in another video, this really came in handy for that. So because I did the training prior, I was able to put it on my resume, and it looked good, and it made me stand out above the rest, and apparently it helped because I did get the job. So that is something to consider too, because like I said, the more things, skills and knowledge and training courses that you have, especially if they're like certification, you get CEUs for it. So hey, it's the best of both worlds, because you'll get CEU credits for it, which you need to renew your license. But the more of these training skills that you have under your belt, the more marketable you'll be and stand out out to employers above the rest, and you'll have all those extra skills so that when you're doing a certain job, especially if it requires the use of those skills, you will be trained and hopefully feel more comfortable and confident in administering and doing and partaking in those skills. That is a great thing to have anyway, right? So those are the 5 things. I hope this video helped. If you have any suggestions, video suggestions you would like me to do in the future, please go ahead and put those comments in the comment section below. Or if you just have any questions or just whatever the case may be, I'm always open and always glad to hear and read your comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe so you can see more videos like this and many more to come. Especially if you guys suggest videos, I'll do that. And thank you guys for watching. Until then, I'll see you guys in another one. Remember, peace, love, and happiness. Bye, you guys. Take care.